Alright, welcome to another episode. This time we're going to be taking a route from West Village in Manhattan to Brooklyn to Williamsburg. This will be a complex route that combines elements of city driving, crossing the bridge, and navigating through another borough. I've noticed dramatic differences compared to the previous version, but all in all, both versions still appear to be doing generally a pretty good job of navigating in a lot of different scenarios involving pedestrians, bikers, cars, vehicles blocking the road. I'll say that I've noticed with a lot of the behaviors of the car, small things are pretty interesting, that it behaves a lot like a human driver would, including hesitations, which, if you think about what a auto driver is supposed to do, it really doesn't need a lot of these kind of micro movements that, at least in a human driver, just indicate whether or not a human driver wants to proceed with an action or not. Unnecessary actions. Find it pretty interesting that it does those. I'll try to note some of those as they come up. So right now, you may not be able to see it on the video, but it's making a few minor brake motions, thinking about whether or not it wants to clear that intersection. It ultimately did, as you just saw. Those little minor hesitations are very human-like. I'm not sure it's necessary, but interesting and oddly reassuring, I'll say. So you can see here in the West Village, it's a lot of people. It's a nice weekend afternoon. So it has to navigate through a lot of circumstances where pedestrians and bikers will be popping out from every single corner. It has to do it in a way where it's assertive, not too passive, so that it can keep moving forward, but also be safe in the way it moves. So you see it stopped for this traffic light, which was the right move because it wouldn't have been able to clear the intersection. It would have been blocking the box. This isn't one of those cases. We'll see if it happens on this particular drive. So as you can see here, we have a green light. There's a car from the crossing street that was blocking, and it needs to make a decision whether to creep forward into the intersection, occupy the space, even though there's no clearance to get past the intersection. It waited, as you saw back there. It didn't just creep forward right when the light turned green, which is what many drivers out here would do, is to creep forward to kind of assert their position. It worked out well in that last case because the traffic forward started to clear. However, there are many cases out here, more gridlock type of cases, where if it didn't just occupy the intersection, it would not be able to proceed forward. Today's not one of those cases, at least not yet. it's kind of pausing a little bit for I don't know what. Now I believe it's pausing for what it perceives as some bumpiness in the road. It's interesting with the potholes and the bumps in the road. The car does really recognize a lot of bumps, especially speed humps and bumps, and slows down appropriately for them. Holes in the road, you almost have to drive over them or compromise a little bit. Short answer is there's not really a clear solution. So the car now hesitated across the road because that biker on the left kind of swerved over a little bit. I think that was appropriate.
In 500 feet, turn right onto Bellary.
It's creeping along at 18 miles an hour with no traffic in front of it. It's an interesting choice. Could have done 25 easily. I'm not bothered by it too much. Alright, is it gonna try to beat these pedestrians? Yes, it will. So positioning itself in the middle lane. Middle lane's usually the safest, so I like the lane selection. Now it's moving to the left, which is not a good choice. Well, I guess I take it back. I'm not sure I know what to make of this one. Lane markings are all messed up due to the construction, so I guess retrospect on that one, it was a good choice. Probably a better choice than I would have made.
Delancey Street.
But the intersection and the traffic light right after this, we have to make a left to get onto the Williamsburg Bridge.
Now turn left onto Canary Street.
It's doing a good job of waiting its turn into the line. Now it has an unprotected left turn. Let's see how well it recognizes it. Nice job of being nice and smooth, recognizing the left turn and slowing down to stop right in the middle of the intersection. That's very well executed, just like a experienced human driver would do. Alright, yellow light. Well, this van wants to shoot the light, well, and it's clearing very good. It was a perfect turn. Not uncomfortable in the least. So far, we've made it from the West Village, across the island, almost to the other side to get onto the bridge, and I've done 0 pushes of the accelerator, so 0 accelerator interventions, and 0 takeovers or true interventions. So far, this has been a pure self-driving experience. So I don't know if the video shows it, but it creeped up a little bit while it was waiting for the light. The car in front of us did not move forward an inch, but our car decided it wanted to move forward a few inches, almost as if it were impatient, like a real human, waiting for the light to go green and for the car to move forward. So those are those small things that are funny and unusual to me. It's completely unnecessary, but it's something humans would do while they're impatiently waiting for a light. Gains really nothing in those actions. Probably a fragment or an artifact or a byproduct of the way this AI has been trained. Just interesting things to note like that. It's pausing, just hesitating a little bit, not sure if it can clear the intersection, but decided to go for it anyway. I find it very interesting the way it makes these decisions at crowded intersections. It almost feels like there's a person in there thinking about whether it can make it or not. The way it uses the gas and the brake. Oh, see, that was another very human moment where it saw the yellow light, pushed on the brake for a fraction of a second, wasn't really that uncomfortable, but decided, oh, it can make it, and shot the gap anyway. Very human-like and strange, I'll say. But overall, in a very odd way, it makes it a little bit more, it inspires more confidence in a strange way, just because it has those little, I'll call it human-like ticks. So now, as you can tell, we're on the bridge. Lanes here are in general, especially on just almost all the highways out here, very, very narrow. Speed limit says 35, but it's going 44. Not terrible. It's trying to, it seems, match the speed of the traffic out here, but still falling behind the car in front a little bit. So that truck behind us decided it's had enough and wanted to pass. We're still now, approaching 15 miles over the speed limit. But again, it is the flow of traffic. How's it going to make itself over to this exit? How's it going to do this? Oh, that is... Ugh. I was about to take over there. That was not a very good move. Crossed over the solid whites to figure that out. I believe the car was trying to figure out how it's supposed to make that merge. And at the end, just also a very human thing, I guess, to decide, okay, I'm confused, but I need to make the exit, so I'm just going to cross those diagonal hashes. It is confusing. Not the best execution. The hard part of Manhattan and the bridge is over now. There's a lot of bumps on this road, and it did slow down a little bit for that iron plate, or that steel plate on the right side, so that was a nice execution. It didn't swerve or anything. So all in all, I would say that was a nice handling of those rather unavoidable poor road conditions over there. paused a little bit there, not sure what for. Is he gonna pause for the pigeons? No, not at all. Interesting.
In 500 feet, turn left.
How does it
onto
know that
Cleveland
birds
Avenue.
don't need to be slowed down for? I have no idea.
Now turn left onto Cleveland Avenue.
All right. Making a somewhat of a sharp left turn. No problem.
In 500 feet, turn right onto Sherrill Street.
How's he gonna navigate this guy? Is he making a 3-point turn? I think so. Nice job anticipating that he was gonna back into our lane.
Now turn right onto Sherrill Street. In 500 feet, turn right onto Larimer Street.
Slowing down for the random pedestrian.
Now turn right onto Larimer Street.
Turned on the right turn blinker at a very good time to indicate the intention.
Now turn left onto Montrose Avenue.
Coming up on another unprotected left turn. Not a lot of traffic. Should have no problem with this one. Here's a wide open street with no lane markings whatsoever. And it's interesting, usually you can see on the navigation here that the computer is at least trying to figure out what the implied lanes are. But this time it doesn't do that at all. I've heard from some other broadcasters that what the car is actually doing doesn't really have much of a connection to what's displayed here on the visualization. It's freaking out due to that rollerblader. But I guess that was a demonstration of how there's no connection.
In 500 feet, your destination
Just kept
will be
going.
on the right.
Looks like we are just about to arrive. So that was a zero intervention perfect drive from Manhattan to Brooklyn.